Two Pima County officials are facing backlash tonight after separate online comments about Charlie Kirk's death sparked controversy.
So one of them went further by making an alleged death threat to the president. News 4 Tucson's Jafet Serrato has more details on this. Jafet.
The first public official is a deputy who has been with the Pima County Sheriff's Department here for 22 years, 5 of them as a corrections officer. Not only did he allegedly make comments online about Charlie Kirk, but also about President Donald Trump. Now the Secret Service is involved. As for poor Charlie, that's his own karma that got him where he now lays. It's just part of multiple Facebook posts that appear to come from Pima County Sheriff's Deputy Ramon Hernandez, seemingly condoning Charlie Kirk's death.
We in the law enforcement profession need to be above standards at all times.
While Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos would not specifically comment about the post from Hernandez, Nanos did tell me this.
Deputy Hernandez is placed on admin leave with pay.
Nanos confirmed the postings are now being investigated by the U.S. Secret Service.
Deputy Hernandez is working with the Secret Service. He has his rights.
The Secret Service investigation comes after Hernandez also appeared to make this post saying, "Death to pedophile rapist Trump."
Violence of any kind is never condoned.
The Secret Service sent me this statement in regards to Hernandez, saying in part, "We take all threats against our protectees seriously," and that it couldn't get into the specifics of its investigation.
Based on that investigation, it will dictate to us what our next steps are.
A separate post by another public official about Kirk's death has also caused concerns. Jeremy Zorzicki is a public defender for Pima County. One Facebook post with his name appears to read, "They sniped Charlie Kirk. We blurred an expletive, but then you see below some celebratory emojis."
To celebrate the assassination of someone is really never okay.
Caitlin Day Waters says she lives in Pima County and was shocked to see the comments from Zorzicki.
My taxpayer dollars are paying his salary. I'm not comfortable with that.
News for Tucson has reached out to Zorzicki for comment. We also reached out to the Pima County Public Defender's Office, but we have not heard back. We will let you know if they do. Reporting from the South Side, Jafet Serrato, News for Tucson.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. All righty, we're going to start it out with good news. We've got a new viewer. I'm just sure of it. I can tell from the headline. It says now former sheriff's deputy arrested for smoking marijuana vape pen in staff bathroom. That's what the BCSO says. I have a feeling this guy has been a long-time watcher of the Bad Apple Report. His name's Ivan Estrada. Okay, Ivan Estrada. Kind of looks like Eric Estrada, doesn't he? Ponch Jr., age 23, has been employed with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office for nearly 5 months. Couldn't wait till you get home to... Okay. And now, former deputy with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office arrested for possession of a controlled substance, admitted to smoking a marijuana vape pen on the job. He's addicted, allegedly. Ivan Estrada, 23, is charged with having a prohibited substance inside a correctional facility. At approximately 9 p.m., they took a break at the Bexar County Detention Center. They smelled a strong odor of marijuana coming from the staff restroom. The BCSO Criminal Investigation Division determined Estrada was the last one to use the restroom and later questioned him. Estrada, who initially denied having any marijuana, later admitted to smoking the vape pen after further questioning. Investigators later tested the vape pen and confirmed that it did have the presence of THC. Estrada was placed into custody and later booked on his charges. In accordance to BCSO's Civil Service Commission, Estrada was dismissed due to his probationary status. Estrada cannot repeal the dismissal and is not eligible to rehire regardless of the case's outcome. Quote, half a dozen dedicated deputies worked blah, blah, blah. That's what Sheriff Javier Salazar says. Oh, shut up, Javier. This guy was just burning one. He wasn't beating anybody down, allegedly. Anyways, all right. Well, welcome to our new viewer of the show, and thank you all for being here. Let's move on.
Well, new at 10, an ICE officer said he was not nervous while smuggling drug money because he would have shown his badge had been released if police stopped him. That's according to an unsealed court document in which the officer admitted to transporting large amounts of cash from New Jersey and throughout Texas, and offering to do even more while drinking tequila with undercover agents in Conroe. ABC 13's Luke Jones joins us live. And Luke, that officer now knows his punishment.
Yeah, his sentence, nearly 6 years in prison plus a $20,000 fine. It's a much lighter sentence than what he could have received thanks to a plea agreement. But now he's out of jail on bond, but will have to report to prison at some point. That date yet to be determined. An ICE officer iced out after a drug money smuggling scandal. Christopher Terrell pleaded guilty to 1 count of money laundering in exchange for 2 other counts being dropped. Prosecutors say he'd been with ICE since 2008, most recently at the processing center in Conroe. It's while he was working there, they say he transported $700,000 for who he thought were drug traffickers. It turns out they were undercover FBI agents. The first transport took place in February 2023, according to court documents. Terrell's plea agreement detailing how he met an undercover agent in a Walmart parking lot in Dallas and picked up $200,000 in cash. Hours later, he delivered it to a confidential informant at a Woodlands HEB. His fee? $8,000. Weeks later, prosecutors say he made the same trip, driving another $200,000 from Dallas to the Houston area for another $8,000 payment. But his biggest haul, $300,000 from New Jersey to Houston. Prosecutors say he wrapped the cash in plastic bundles and stuffed it in a suitcase, then identified himself as an ICE officer to bypass security checkpoints at Newark Airport. After he'd landed in Houston, prosecutors say he met undercover agents at a Conroe lake house to deliver the money. He was paid $24,000 for his troubles, and prosecutors say he was willing to go further over food and tequila, offering to use his federal database access to run background checks for the undercovers. It all came crashing down a year later with Terrell's indictment on 3 counts of money laundering. He pleaded guilty earlier this year and soon goes from detention officer to detainee. Luke Jones, ABC 13, Eyewitness News.
This cop looks very worried. He looks like he don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to turn out. We don't know how it's going to turn out. Here's the story. Hanford police officer has been arrested after suspect's death. Kings County, California, a Hanford police officer was arrested after using blunt force on a suspect, which ultimately killed him, the Kings County Sheriff's Office said. According to the sheriff, Dave Robinson, on January 27th around 8:40 p.m., Hanford resident Richard Saunders was stopped by Hanford police Brian Scandura. He was riding his bicycle with no light. Investigators report that Scandura had placed Saunders under arrest. Saunders was argumentative, but ultimately placed his hands behind his back and complied. Scandura then called a unit to assist with the transport. While they waited for the unit arriving, detectives report that Officer Scandura told Saunders multiple times to sit down or he'd be forcibly sat down. Scandura then suddenly dropped Saunders to the ground in an aggressive manner while he was still in cuffs. Saunders became nonverbal and began bleeding from his head before losing consciousness. Deputies report Saunders was transported to the local hospital where he eventually succumbed to his injuries on February 13th. That same day, Hanford Police Department determined the use of force by Scandura was not within their policy. The Kings County Sheriff's Office was requested to initiate a criminal investigation into the incident. So on February 24th, an autopsy performed on Saunders, where the Sheriff's Office said the cause of death was determined to be blunt force head trauma, with a manner of death being homicide. Following months of investigation, the detectives believed that the case had enough probable cause for the filing of criminal charges. That's where we're at now. According to the Kings County District Attorney, Scandura faces charges of involuntary manslaughter, assault with force likely to cause great bodily injury, assault by a public officer, all with an enhancement of great bodily injury and battery of serious bodily injury. These charges were determined by the grand jury. The DA's office said the 48-year-old Brian Scandura is set to be arraigned on September 24th at the Kings County Superior Court. It's coming right up. And a statement hand for police, Stephanie Huddleston says her department will continue to blah, blah, blah. Okay, you guys, that's a super bad apple. He messed up bad. We're going to be following this case closely. Thanks for being here. Let's move on with the show.
His job was in major part to deal with inmates inside the jail.
Tonight, a Wyandotte County deputy is charged with killing one of those inmates. Richard Fatherly is charged with second-degree murder in the death of inmate Charles Adair. I'm Scott Kilberry.
I'm Lauren Halifax. Adair had just been booked into the jail a day earlier on outstanding traffic violations. The deputy charged with his death, however, won't see the inside of a jail cell before he goes to trial. Fox 4's Dave DeMarco live at the Wyandotte County Detention Center to explain why tonight.
Well, Mark Dupree says it's been pretty standard for law enforcement who is charged here in Wyandotte County not to be arrested. 50-year-old Charles Adair was jailed on the 4th of July for failing to appear on multiple traffic violations. Investigators with the KBI say Adair was not listening to commands, so was handcuffed and taken to a cell where he continued to resist. A coroner's report says an officer was kneeling on Adair's back before he died from complications of mechanical asphyxia. The coroner ruled it a homicide. Thursday, the district attorney charged Richard Fatherly, who is a Wyandotte County deputy but not a certified law enforcement officer, with second-degree murder, or in the alternative, a jury could also find him guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Those specifics ultimately are the things that will have to go before a jury, who is, according to the law, the fact finder. And so in essence, the jury will be able to decide which of those two falls into the category of Fatherly's actions.
The sheriff's office has placed Fatherly on unpaid leave and say they have been and will continue to cooperate. The district attorney believes Fatherly will too. It's why, despite the charge that could ultimately lead up to 41 years in jail, he received only a summons to appear in court and was not booked or arrested.
Mr. Fatherly has been a deputy with the Wyandotte County Sheriff's Office. He was not a flight risk. He was, in fact, cooperative with the investigation and with the Bureau of Investigation. And I do not believe that it was a concern for this office on whether or not he would continue to cooperate.
We got a real bad here. It's true. I'm sure you will agree. This Atlanta police officer has been charged with beating her dog to death. She's a real bad bitch. Douglas County, Georgia. A City of Atlanta police officer has been arrested on aggravated animal cruelty charges after investigators say she fatally beat her dog. Douglasville police identified the officer as 25-year-old Zabria Bridges. Oh, Zabria, you scumbag. According to investigators, the incident happened last month at the Emblem Riverside Apartments there on Riverside Parkway. Authorities say the dog suffered multiple broken bones and internal bleeding, which ultimately led to its death. The Atlanta Police Department confirmed Bridges' arrest, and they said that she's been placed on administrative leave without pay pending the outcome of the investigation in line with the department policy. And the APD also says it holds its personnel to the highest standards of conduct, both on and off duty. You shouldn't hire vicious people like that. But either way, I'm glad she's in jail. That makes me pretty happy. Okay, that's all we need to know about that bad bitch. Thanks for being here, folks.
And now for your 17 Court Watch. A former Stallion Springs police officer has been convicted of sexually abusing a child, and today he was sentenced to 16 years in prison. An adult victim came forward in 2023. She reported that James Best Jr. sexually abused her from when she was 9 to 16. In May, Best pleaded no contest to sexually abusing a child, according to court records. The victim was in court today watching the judge sentence Best. Best will now have to register as a sex offender.
A senior police officer who admitted to lying during the sexual assault trial of Dragon star Jack DeBellin has been spared jail. The senior officer was convicted of perjury but will instead serve his sentence in the community. Taylor Aiken reports from Wollongong.
Good afternoon. Well, Dragons forward Jack DeBellin says he is disappointed the police officer who lied under oath during his sexual assault trial won't spend a day in jail despite being convicted of perjury.
Yeah, it was obviously a little bit light, but it is what it is.
The former detective senior constable, who can only be known as Officer A due to a court order, was facing up to 10 years behind bars after admitting he lied in a sworn affidavit and while on the stand over reading privileged text messages between Jack DeBellin and his lawyer during a pre-trial hearing in the sexual assault case against Jack DeBellin and friend Callan Sinclair. Instead, telling the court he believed those texts only contained, quote, Dragons business. In sentencing, Judge Christine Mendez found it was a basic and crude lie without strategy, but accepted Officer A, who has since medically retired from the force, faced ongoing mental health issues and was unlikely to reoffend.
Are you genuinely remorseful?
Sentencing him to a 12-month intensive corrections order to be served in the community.
Well, we sort of knew that he would get a slap on the wrist, which is basically what he's got.
The families of Callan Sinclair and Jack DeBellin slamming the initial police investigation that resulted in a 5-year legal battle.
What's kept Cal and myself so strong throughout this is our innocence.
Officer A will have to remain on good behaviour and seek psychological support for at least the next 12 months.
It's not just some old saying. If you've lived long enough, you feel it. You know it's true. That thing you've been seeking all along was right there in front of you. It's right before your eyes. That's how I feel about you guys every day when I see you. That's right. You're what I've been seeking all along, and I really appreciate you. And I'll be seeking you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. So have a great day, and we'll see you then. Take it easy.